co-anchor, Furry Rodent.
Hey, what's happening, Crystal?
It's good today, Furry. What we're going to do today is we're going to review, there's that new mini-series that's already started. And it's a 12-part mini-series, and they're through number 5 of it. And I know some of you have missed the first 5, but you know what? We're going to catch you up here so that you can watch the last 7 in the series, because it is so worth it, isn't it?
You know, it's like unbelievable, man. You just look at this stuff on TV and you think, how can this ever really happen? It's so far out.
Oh, it is far out, Furry. And you know it is. It's a made-for-TV miniseries, and it's not all real, but I'm telling you, the people that made this, it's called 2020. And I'm telling you,
it sounds like a news show or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Or something with your
like
eyes,
in the future.
Yeah.
But it was written by Alfred Hitchcock and Rod Sterling, and the person who also wrote Psycho gave some input. So the writers are great on this, and the way they've done it, as absurd as it is, I mean, Furry, it's absurd. You watched it. You've got to admit it. It's absurd.
You know, it's like, man, you can't believe this stuff. They just have such wild. They must have had some really good acid when they were writing, man.
Something went on.
Yeah.
So here's the premise. So you haven't heard much about it, which I'm sure you have. But the absurdity is, it's supposed to be an election year in 2020. The president is this guy. Oh my God, he's got this crazy like big red hair, and he's like got some sort of fake spray on tan or something. Like must be that copper tone stuff that makes you orange. And so you can see like where he doesn't get it all on. And he was supposed to have been the star of. They have this thing then in the next century where they have, it's called reality TV.
And he's supposed to have like $1 billion or something stupid like that.
It's just crazy, and he's got this crazy beautiful wife. So he's up for election, and the guy that's going to run against him is this guy who's 78 years old. Come on.
No.
Like, you're going to put a guy in who's 78 years old. So this is how absurd this whole premise is of this thing. So every month of the year of 2020 is one of the series. So what they did is the first month in January, they did this great setup. So like everybody, they start out at a New Year's Eve party. Everybody has all this hope for the new year because 2019 was supposed to have been like kind of a bad year for people. So everybody's so excited for 2020, this new century, this new decade. Everybody's excited. You're at the New Year's Eve parties, and then it moves into the life of this chick. Her name in the show is Patti Phillips, and she goes.
That's a really cool name.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
you know what else? She goes by a thing called the Queen of Damn Near Everything in this show. She has like a show. Up then, they have like kind of like your own little TV shows that you can put on yourself and stuff.
Oh man, she could have a rock band called the Queen.
That'd be cool.
Oh, what a great name.
That'd be cool. So anyway, so this chick goes with her guy to Southeast Asia right after the New Year, like halfway through January. And what's happening... Oh, no, that's all long gone. That's all long gone, hon. Long gone. In this show, you gotta remember, hey, stay with me, honey.
Yeah.
Stay with me. It is the future.
I have a hard enough time with the present, man.
So she goes to Southeast Asia, she and her man, and what's happening is people start talking about a new virus. And you can't have that right now. Furry, that's for later.
Okay.
And so they have a new virus that's coming out, and they think it could even become a pandemic. Like, seriously. Like, you think, like, almost, 45 years from now, they're going to have a freaking pandemic?
They've got all those problems solved, man.
Yeah, they got everything solved. So anyway, that's the premise. That's why this is so absurd. So people start, while she's on her trip, they're wearing masks, and they're talking about this virus, and they start taking their temperature everywhere they go. Like, come on. Like, in 2020, the way they're going to tell if you have something is they're going to take your temperature.
So
Seriously?
They stick to thermometer?
They have like a...
It's not like...
No, it's a sci-fi thing. They like just hold it by your head, or people are they're walking by and they can tell the temperature. It is. It's like Star Trek.
Oh, how cool.
So that's it. So that's January, and so people start talking about this could become a serious pandemic. Hey. No, dude, you gotta wait till later for that.
Okay, it's cool,
okay,
man.
Dude.
Cool.
Okay, we can't have you high here. So then February, the second one in the series is supposed to be February. So what happens is they have this place called Wuhan where this whole thing started, this virus.
Where is that, man?
It's in China.
Oh, okay.
It's in China. The Chinese.
Red Chinese.
Yeah, the Red Chinese. And they're...
Wow.
And so this whole place there's a little bit of like conspiracy theory about whether it was an accident or whether this was a man-made virus. It's like real sci-fi kind of a little bit. I mean, a little, but again, it still works in this, doesn't it? You saw it, it works.
It's pretty far out, and you know, if you've got like some really good drugs, it works out really
Yeah, it's
well.
good.
But, yeah.
It's good. So anyway, so they closed that down, and they have a city in this show called Macau, and it's supposed to be kind of like right near Hong Kong, and they have huge casinos, bigger than Vegas is by far right now here. I mean, they have casinos that are like 30 stories tall.
No,
And they-
that is sci-fi.
It is, and they close it all down. There's even one building there in this show. It's shaped like a lotus flower, and it's a casino.
Oh man, that sounds so cool.
I don't know how they did it, but it's cool.
Wow.
It's cool. So anyway, so they close this all down. They shut it all down. All of a sudden, people are not allowed to go out. They all have to stay in their homes.
Because they have this virus.
This
man.
virus, it's a pandemic starting. So I know it's so far out, but it works so well. And so people in the States start taking this, some people start taking it a little seriously, some don't. So people start stocking up on stuff. Like, you know the guys that are like the Boy Scout type guys when they grow up? They start stocking up on food and stuff. And the funniest part, you laughed at this. Everybody like just began to buy all the toilet paper.
Yeah, we talked about Boy Scouts getting a merit badge and toilet paper.
Yeah, so people couldn't get toilet paper. So it's kind of, it's ridiculous in this series. But it worked. It was funny. It was good. So I love that. But then what started to happen is they were shutting down everything in the States. They shut down, remember, they shut down the concerts in February of this show?
Yeah.
Nobody could have a concert.
Could you imagine not being able to see the Grateful Dead?
Oh, no way.
Oh.
No way.
Man.
How would you do this? Not be able to go to concerts? And they also, you couldn't have parties. You couldn't go over to people's house for parties.
No parties? What did they do?
Well, at this point, they were still going out a little bit, but you weren't allowed to do things in groups. In fact, this is so weird. They had one scene in the February one, I think it was. Maybe it was in the March. I can't remember. But they had a group of choir people that went to practice for choir, and they all got this pandemic.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah, it's one of the only times where like both heaven and hell were lying. I mean, on both sides of it, you were wrong.
Oh man, that's not good at all.
Yeah, so no parties, no concerts. So then the third one is March. And what they did in the third one here, if you missed it, you guys, wait till the reruns come because you're going to love it. So what they did is they started lockdowns all around the world where there were quarantines. So this place in China, this place called Macau, people couldn't go out. Then it started in the States in the show. And people couldn't go out of their house in the States. Can you
Is
imagine?
Nixon back in power at this time?
No. Nixon's long gone home. I told you, they got this guy. He's got the red head, and they call him Trump in the show. And his name's Trump. What a name, huh?
Wow.
And and people are really split in the show over this guy Trump. Some people love him. Some people hate him. He's kind of a womanizer sometimes. It goes both ways. But I'm telling you, this thing is crazy. So everybody's under quarantine, and there's like this impending, of course, economic disaster because nobody can go to work. So unless you were like a doctor or a nurse or something like that, or like, something really important and you worked at Walmart or something, you couldn't go to your job.
Whoa.
So everybody had to stay home all day long.
Whoa. And they had these stores that I can't even imagine. These giant stores that had everything
I know,
at
it's
a
crazy.
discount. Called like cost something or other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you guys would just love these stores, man. Just like huge
Oh
stores.
yeah. I remember those scenes where like people were lined up to try to find toilet paper and they couldn't get it and they were getting all upset.
Yeah.
It was great
Oh,
scenery.
amazing.
So, and then the other thing is they closed all the schools. Wouldn't we have loved that in our day? Oh, God, why couldn't they do that for us? Close the schools.
You know, that we could just walk around and enjoy nature and be groovy and
Oh no, you
natural
couldn't go outside so
and
much.
peaceful.
You couldn't go outside so much during this thing.
What's the point of closing schools if you can't go outside?
No,
man?
you had to be, your parents were supposed to do your schooling with you. They call it homeschool.
Whoa, what a concept.
I met your mom and dad, and if they had to homeschool people, I mean, they're so high all the time. I mean, you're not far from the apple didn't fall far from the tree. I don't think your parents could teach you anything. So then, this is one of the really fun ones in the March one. Do you remember this? The people are watching the thing on TV called Tiger King. And the show that they're watching was supposed to be like their own kind of like documentary miniseries kind of thing. And they're watching it, and this guy is supposed to own his own zoo, and his name of all things is Joe Exotic. And it's supposed to be a real story about a real guy when they were watching this. Like, come on, really? And he owns like thousands of tigers and lions and things you're not supposed to own. And there's a big brouhaha because some girl in the series, some woman named Carol Baskin or something, was supposed to have killed her husband in real life. And everybody knows she killed her husband, but she doesn't get arrested for it. Like, really? So people watch this whole documentary. That was a big, like, who's going to watch that show?
It's like Agnew, man. You pull all this stuff and all you do is resign and nothing happens to you, man. That's like so uncool.
This is like that but it's supposed to happen like 45 years
If they
from now.
found a joint on me, I'd be in jail for years, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then, you know what? In this show, pot's legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this 2020 show, in most of the states, not all of them, but in most of the states, California, of course. California, of course, it's legal. And a few other states. But you can go buy pot at stores that are like legit stores.
Whoa.
Yeah, people were talking about it.
California, is pot's legal?
Oh, but you know what? You know how the only jobs you could have is like if you were a healthcare worker or like you worked at one of these big stores. The pot stores were also left open. That was one of they called them essential stores.
That's just so cool.
I mean, this series is so far out. It's just so unreal.
It's unbelievable.
But it works. It somehow works. It feels, when you're watching it, doesn't it feel real?
Incredible.
It feels real. So then the fourth one, April, if you missed it. So this is a great one. The CIA comes out and tells people that UFOs are really real.
Man, you know, I saw UFOs myself.
Have you? Were you stoned at the time?
I don't remember. Probably, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what you're... And then, okay...
I'm thinking about this, man.
No, you can't do that to work... Hey, if the people...
It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool.
No,
it's cool.
It's not legal yet, remember. And so in this, like, weddings were all canceled, graduations were canceled, and get this, if you were in the hospital, people are dying now of the pandemic. This is happening across the world. I mean, like, it got really bad in Italy on this show. Remember that? It was awful. And I don't know how they filmed this. It was devastating. The way they did it, it was awful. And so people couldn't even go see, like, their loved ones when they were dying in this show.
Oh, man. That's
I cried when I watched that part of it. And so people now, their finances are stretched. They're stuck in their house for, like, weeks on end now. They can't go out unless they're getting groceries. There's like things like mental health. Do you know what mental health means, Furry?
Yeah, man, I know the term.
Yeah,
right?
mental
So
health.
they put them all in hospital and they lock them up there.
Yeah, well, here that wasn't happening. It wasn't good.
And Governor Reagan's going to let them out.
No, it's Trump. It's Trump. Trump's the guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking current terms.
Yeah, no, man, it's Trump, dude. And then people weren't even allowed to go on the beaches. Well, this was what's crazy. Every state had its own set of rules. So that's another crazy thing in this series. Now, how that would ever work, I don't get it. Because you could go across state lines and you could do this here, but you can't do it here. So in some states, they couldn't go on the beach at all. In some states, they could go in the water, but not on the beach. In some states, they could go on the sand, but not in the water.
Man, you think I could go surfing?
It depended on the day and the week in this show. I mean, that seems really, like, who's going to make different sets of rules for every state? It was a little far-fetched, but it works. The way they've done it, the way they've written this, it works in the movie. Like, it's one of the things that added to people's frustration here.
That's
Because
so messed up.
one day they could go on the beach, one day they couldn't. Some days some places you could go walk. So people are having to wear masks now everywhere they go. And, okay, it's so weird. And so now, on that series, remember those phrases they were using? The new normal?
Oh, yeah.
And what was that other one they used? Social distancing. So nobody can get closer than 6 feet to anybody. If you aren't living in the same house, you're not allowed to get within 6 feet or touch anyone.
Wow.
I mean, orgies would be tough.
Wow.
Orgies would be tough to have
You
then.
have to have everybody living in the same house, man.
Oh, you know, that'd be good for like San Francisco. Get one of those big Victorians, dude. You could do that there, but other than that, you can't bring in strangers for your orgy. Well, then, if this ever happens, we gotta get the right people to be living with us at the right time.
Yeah.
Right time. And so businesses, this is funny. Businesses were run from home. And so people didn't have to go to work. Some people could still do their work, but they had to be home doing it. And you know what they did? They started, it was really cool on this thing. They called it seriously, they called them Zoom calls. And what it was like, you know when you go to Disney World, did you ever go through where you go on the conveyor and they show you the things of the future?
Oh, yeah.
And they have those phones that you're going to see who's talking?
Yeah. Push the button and then dad's talking with his kids and the mom. That's really cool.
Well, this was how they had it in the show.
No.
Like it was really happening. So I think they went to Disney World and they saw like the stuff of the future and then they put it in this. But it's good. It's still good. And then this is another one. They got these big cruise ships where people, go on vacation. But like in the fourth one, the people are stuck out on the cruise ships. Nobody will let them land at docks. Nobody will let them come because there are people dying on the ships. There are people sick. They don't want them to bring it to the country. So every country says they can't land. So these people are floating around out there for weeks on end.
It's like a ghost ship.
Yeah. It was crazy in this show. You guys, if you haven't seen this show, I am telling you, you've got to watch it. The stuff they come up with is so far-fetched, but it works. I'm telling you, it works. So then the last one that we've seen so far is the May one. And that's number 5. That happened last week. And so in this, like, some people, they started opening up some businesses, like some restaurants in certain places could open. Different places in the world were opening things different times. Again, didn't make any sense why they did that, but that's how it was in the show. And so people could go to restaurants, but like, I guess the people at the restaurants, they had to follow all these special rules and they had to move the tables far apart. Seemed kind of crazy to do. And then, but people were talking about things like, oh, but there's a silver lining to this. And one of the things, they would be having these conversations and suddenly they were sitting down at the tables at having dinner with their kids. And people were saying, there's a silver lining to this. We're not moving so fast. It was like the 60s.
It's like, slow down, you're going too fast.
Yeah.
You got to make the morning last.
Yeah, like that song.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
I can relate to that, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you can, Fuzzy.
Totally.
Furry.
Yeah.
Furry. And then, so what, the financial impact, you can imagine these people, a lot of people are out of their work, out of their jobs. Financial impact really.
And they just get welfare.
Well, they were getting a little special amount, and I don't know if it's really a lot then, but they were getting like, everybody's going to get like $1,200 from the government. Well, it sounds like a lot to us, but how do we know?
Man.
45 years from now, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Well, now it's a lot, Furry, but I don't know then if it's really a lot for people. Like, what would your house payment be in 2020? I don't know.
Man, I live in a teepee out in the park, man. I don't know what my house payment's going to be.
Yeah, well, so then there was this hint in like season 4 or 5, there was, or in the show 4 or 5, there was a hint about these like crazy bugs that were coming called murder hornets. They're like 2.5 inches. I think this is going to come up in one of the future episodes.
Yeah, it's kind of like the medfly, man. We just lived through the medfly.
Yeah.
Where they had all the fruit that was contaminated with the medfly.
Yeah.
And they had these helicopters that came over. It was like apocalypse now.
Well, this thing is like apocalypse.
And it screwed up all the cars, man. It was just terrible.
Really? Wow.
And it killed all the insects. And that's just like this, man, except these are hornets. And they're not going to get killed that easy.
No. So now they showed us the preview for episode 6, which is next Monday. So start watching. And what they had on there is just in the preview, it was kind of crazy. And this is almost the most far out. So evidently in episode 6, there's supposed to be something that goes on. This is supposed to be June. And there's something that goes on where some black dude gets killed by a cop. And so there's there starts to be protests and then there's riots and stuff. And that's what's going to happen here in episode 6. But the thing that's so stupid about that is, come on, Furry. Really, in 45 more years or something, are they really going to still have racism? Come on, dude.
Man, that's the stupidest thing. I thought we got rid of racism after the Watts riots, man.
With people like us and, peace, love, and groovy, I can't believe there's still going to be racism going on, but that's how they showed it in the show.
Yeah, I can accept murder hornets, but racism, no, that's got to be gone by
then. Yeah. So, and then one of the other previews is people are wondering, like, what is going to happen with this whole pandemic thing and this virus. Like now that all these people, they were showing like huge protests and people were destroying whole towns, and people were wondering, with all those people out running around and now restaurants open, what's going to happen? Is the virus going to come back strong? So we don't know. But I know that last night, Furry, you were kind of smoking a joint, or I mean, we were hanging out. You were just hanging out, Furry, with some of the writers, and I think they were a little relaxed, maybe, and they tipped you off on a few of the things for the upcoming episodes.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of really cool stuff, man. Like things that are kind of scary that are going to happen, that they're going to put in there. Like they're talking martial law.
Oh, really? They're going to write it?
July.
Oh, like for 4th of July, maybe?
Yeah, man. Like Independence Day ain't going to be set free anymore. It's going to be under martial law because we've got these giant killer bees. Have you heard of killer bees?
No, is there such a thing as killer bees?
It's killer bees, and I guess they compete with murder hornets or something like that. Bizarre.
Oh, come on. This is sounding so weird. And didn't they say something to you, too, about some mosquitoes carrying a disease called West Nile virus or something? So,
Yeah,
so they're going to have, like, bees and hornets and...
you know, you think about that.
And then the locusts. They said that was... Actually, that falls on the year of the locust. So they have these giant locusts in this. There's like 4 inches long down in Africa. They're going to eat all the vegetation, and people are going to be dying from that.
Yeah, so, like, this West Nile is coming by mosquito all the way from Egypt, where the Nile is, to the States, and then we're going to get these giant bugs that are going to come over and eat everything, the cicadas.
This storyline. I mean, they've got to have some kind of sprays by then that'll kill this stuff, right? I mean, this is supposed to be 2020. But you know, like I said, the writing is good, and then what else did they say? Didn't they say something about the UFOs? They're going to bring that back.
They talked about it. They said, man, that like when the CIA started talking about UFOs, that was because we were going to really find out in July that they realized they were going to land, and we were going to see them. They were all going to go like that, like Spock.
Okay, didn't they say something about they were going to take like the virgins on board and then do like sexual experiments around them or something?
Yeah,
maybe?
they had a really hard time finding enough
Virgin, I'm sure by 2020 they're gonna be fresh out of
it's
them.
free love, man.
They're gonna be fresh out of them. And then wasn't there something about like in another upcoming month, like September or sometime in the fall, that they're gonna actually bring Godzilla and King Kong to take over like New York City and Chicago and stuff?
Yeah,
That'll be cool.
You're gonna see King Kong climbing up the Empire State Building.
Don't they have any buildings taller than that by now?
Well, you know, that was the funny thing, man, because like the World Trade Centers are fairly new and they're really tall, but they weren't in this program, and they didn't explain what happened to them.
That's weird.
Just
That
bizarre.
is weird. And I heard that then, I mean, it sounds like it's getting more and more far out per episode, but the rest of it's worked so far, so who knows, right? I mean, I don't think that they're going to change now. They've got a thing going. And then, I guess like later on, like in October or something when it's fall, just when everybody thinks everything's back to normal, a lot of stuff was all open and things have calmed down from all these riots that they showed and stuff in the earlier episodes, everybody was starting to get back to where they thought life was kind of normal, and then it hit again. This pandemic came around for another round. Now, come on, Furry. By 2020, they're going to have drugs to solve anything that's needed. You can't tell me there's going to be anything like even cancer and if they have a pandemic, boom, they're going to have like something where they just walk you through it, zap you, and you're done, right?
It's going to be so great then.
Yeah, but in the
It's
show,
just so improbable.
I know, this is so improbable here. And then what I really loved is that the writers gave us a little hint that the November election, that thing was going to be a total shitstorm. That no matter what side of the fence people were on, that it was going to be crazy. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe they'll have Chicago do the voting process, because he said that in this, because of the pandemic, they were going to not let people vote in person. They were going to make them all be like ballots you had to mail in. So maybe they could run it through Chicago, and Chicago could have people vote early and vote often.
They can show them how to do it. They've got the experience.
Yeah, they do. That'd be cool. And then, you know, there was talk of they're thinking of writing in like maybe terrorists shut down all the electric in the whole country, and that nothing works then, and that these people go crazy because none of their TV kind of programs work or anything. None of their phones would work up then. Now our phone would still work without electric, but I guess then they make it that nothing would work without it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and then
incredible.
the final, the end of this crazy series, The final one, the guys gave us. I hate to. This is a spoiler alert.
Big hint. So turn your
If you don't
TV
want
off,
it,
you don't want to.
yeah, turn this off if you don't want to see it. But the saddest month yet in the crazy series is in December. There's no Christmas because everybody had to stay home, and now because of martial law, they made sure nobody's going out.
And Santa Claus and the elves.
Oh my God! They told us, you guys. I hope this doesn't spoil. They made it that Santa and the elves and even the reindeer all got this crazy virus in the pandemic. So Santa was wiped out. There was no Christmas for kids, no Christmas present, but there was some creepy little elf thing, like about this big, called the elf on the shelf.
Yeah, creepy. He sits on your shelf in your house.
Yeah, it was just, that was crazy. So this is the show 2020 in a nutshell. And if you haven't been watching it, make sure to tune in. Look at open up your next, every Monday. It's every Monday from 6 to 9. Get the family, sit down in front of the TV, get out your TV dinners, and everybody loves the TV dinners, right?
Yeah,
Swanson
so
TV
cool.
Dinners, they're one of our sponsors here, and there's nothing better. And ladies, when Jewel has a sale, you can get 4 for $1. So look at that. Stock up for your next few Mondays in a row. Get out the TV trays. Watch this series 2020. It is great. It is just great, isn't it?
It's exciting, but man,
Far out.
Yeah,
So far out.
I'd be like 153 then.
Yeah, but our kids would be around maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Could you imagine something like this really happened and people had to really live through it?
Yeah, ain't never gonna happen.
No, it's never gonna
It's too far
happen.
out. No.
So let's peace out. Tell our people
Peace
peace
out,
out.
baby.
And
Peace
now
out.
you can enjoy your joint.
Yeah. thank
Furry.
you, babe.
Furry. You got it.
Okay.
Okay, people. Peace out. See ya. Come back next week and see us on the Flower Power Hour 1977.